Did something haunt in your mind? मेरे को अभी सुनने को आया है कि मेरी वीडियो से ही लोग हॉन्ट हो गए। मुझे बताया किसी ने, सर आपकी वीडियो देखा मैंने 21 अटेम्प्ट में एक हुआ है, एक 8 अटेम्प्ट में हुआ है, एक 10 हुआ है। सर मेरे का तो सर अभी रिटन भी क्वालिफाई नहीं हो रहा सर, मेरे को पता नहीं क्या कब होगा, मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा है। These things ever haunt you in your head?
No man, not really. See, first of all, written, at least for AFCAT is pretty easy, okay? So if you actually dedicate yourself and prepare at least for a month, 1 month is more than enough for AFCAT, okay?
But seems like you are very clear in your head. मैं ऑफिसर बनूंगा. Rohan Bhardwaj will be an officer in the Indian Air Force. That's very clear in your head. How it is very clear? What's in your head? जिनको आपने देखा है वो रोहन, और जल्दी आप उन्हें इसी फॉर्म में कॉकपिट में देखेंगे। मैं यकीन मान के बता रहा हूं आपको कि ये इंसान फाइटर पायलट जरूर बनेगा। ये वो इंसान है जिसने सीपीएसएस भी क्वालिफाई किया है, क्योंकि ये फाइटर पायलट बनेगा फॉर श्योर। अब मैं आपके सामने इनकी पूरी कहानी लेकर आऊंगा, सीपीएसएस लेकर आऊंगा, एसएसबी लेकर आऊंगा, इनकी पूरी जर्नी लेकर आऊंगा। इनकी जर्नी में सबसे अच्छी बात है पर्सनैलिटी। ही अंडरस्टैंड कि भाई अगर मैं छोटी छोटी चीजों पे अगर चेंजेस लेकर आऊंगा तो बहुत बड़ा इंपैक्ट पड़ेगा, और उस इंपैक्ट को कहते हैं डोमिनोज इंपैक्ट। डोमिनोज इंपैक्ट आई एम श्योर आपने मूवीज में देखा होगा, जब मूवीज में एक छोटी सी टाइल होती है और वो टाइल बड़ी टाइल को गिराती हुई चली जाती है, उसे हम कहते हैं डोमिनोज इंपैक्ट। अभी आपने स्क्रीन पे आप देख ही पा रहे हैं, यही डोमिनोज इंपैक्ट यहां पर रोहन ने समझा अपनी लाइफ में कि अगर मैं करूंगा तो बहुत बड़ा चेंज आएगा। अब आपको एक बात समझनी है, जब इन्होंने अपनी पर्सनैलिटी पे काम किया तो उनको लगा कि एक रियलिटी चेक होना बहुत जरूरी है, और तब उन्होंने आर्म फोर्स प्रिपरेटरी अकेडमी में डायल किया। नंबर आपके सामने अभी है, यहां पर इन्होंने डायल किया, और जब इन्होंने डायल किया तो इन्होंने मौका पाया कि एयर कोमोडोर संजीव सर से पर्सनल मॉक इंटरव्यू करने का, और ये फायदा उठाकर उन्होंने अपने अंदर जो बची कुची कोई चीज थी जो इंप्रूव करने के लिए बाकी थी वो भी इंप्रूव करी। ये पूरी जर्नी आपके सामने आ रही है। मुलाकात करते हैं रोहन से। गो जय हिंद रोहन भाई।
Jai Shubham, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking me this question. But I have a story, a beautiful story of रोहन भारद्वाज। रोहन भाई एक बात बता यार, पहला अटेम्प्ट मैसूर में तेरा एक दोस्त बना, और वो तेरे से एक बात कहता है कि भाई ये जो फोन है ना, ये फोन हम रिकमेंड होने के बाद लेंगे, और वो कॉन्फ्रेंस का सीन था। क्या थी कहानी, जरा ढंग से बताओ जरा।
So conference हो गया और फिर we were asked to go for lunch and वापस आके उधर बिठाते, there's a waiting area.
हाँ
उधर ही एक JCO साहब आए and he's like so whoever doesn't get recommended, collect your phones after the results are announced and you can leave. ठीक है, तो this guy he comes up to me, his name is Prajwal, okay, so he comes up to me and he's like Ron, don't worry, we'll be collecting our phones only tomorrow after our CPSS, so this doesn't apply to us. So he was very confident about it, okay. Then luckily he got recommended, fortunately, and मेरा तो नहीं हुआ, and that's the story about that.
That's the story, but आप सेकंड अटेम्प्ट में रिकमेंड हो जाते हो।
हाँ,
ये एक बात बताओ, कहानी में ट्विस्ट ये है कि यू पहले अटेम्प्ट में जब तुमने एफकैट क्लियर किया, सो समवन हैज सेड, मतलब तुमने पूछना चाहा सबसे यार क्या करूं क्या करूं क्या करूं, लोगों ने बोला बी योरसेल्फ यार, ऐसे तो कोई तैयारी हो नहीं सकती। ठीक है, क्वेश्चन है कुछ तो तैयारी करनी होगी, कुछ तो तैयारी करनी होगी। सो उसके बाद तुमने तैयारी जो भी थी, जैसी भी जो तुमने पहले टाइम में समझी, वो करके गए, तो कॉन्फ्रेंस आउट होकर आ गए। ठीक है, वहां तुम्हें लगा यार जीटो टास्क बड़ा है, ये है वो है, तो पता होना चाहिए। बट भाई एक बात समझ नहीं आई मेरे को, आफ्टर सेकंड अटेम्प्ट यू स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन योर पर्सनैलिटी रेदर देन नोइंग द प्रोसेस। ये क्या चक्कर है?
So the first attempt में क्या हुआ, hey, as you said, people are like just be yourself, कोई preparation की जरूरत नहीं है. I spoke to some 2-3 people, so that is half correct, okay. So you need to be yourself and all that, but you also need to know how to show yourself completely. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि उधर उनके पास कोई मैजिक इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, उधर जाओ तुम और they can get to know what's inside you. तुम्हें तो दिखाना पड़ेगा ना जो तुम्हारे अंदर है. That I did not know. So and also there were a few things which I was not very happy about myself. पहले सिर्फ सोचता था उसके बारे में, ठीक है, अरे ऐसा करना है, I should be self-disciplined and all the other things, okay. I never put them into actions and started following them actually. So that's about it. First time में I was just like हाँ मेरे में अंदर है, हो जाएगा, ठीक है. I did not know how to project myself in the right way.
In the right way, but अगर आपने जैसे का change self-discipline, you change everything. You try to be more responsible in your job, जहां पर आप नेटवर्क इंजीनियरिंग का काम कर रहे हो। ओवर देयर यू लाइक कि मुझे खाली जॉब की तरह करना, मुझे एक पूरा डिसिप्लिन में, तमीज में ढंग से काम करना है। बेड उठते ही बिस्तर बनाना है, स्मॉल स्मॉल थिंग। और आपने कहा ऑप्टिमिस्टिक होना बहुत जरूरी है, पॉजिटिव होना बहुत जरूरी है। Why these things are, or you decide to be more practical in the life। मेरे पास पूरी लिस्ट एक्चुअली लिखी हुई है, I don't know whether you see but मैंने सब बनाया। मैंने कहा यार ये क्या है, why these small things make a change in your life, और ऐसा क्या था रिकमेंडेशन की वजह इसकी वजह से?
So it's all about how you look at things, okay? So like you said about my job, before अगर छोटी सी कोई problem हो जाए ना, I would get very upset about it and अरे यार ये क्यों हो रहा है मेरे साथ and things like that, okay? Then starting with the bed, it reflected how I was thinking, okay? So after this, what I majorly started changing was seeing things in a more positive way. I used to crib about very small issues, जिसका कोई फायदा नहीं है, ठीक है? ये हो गया तो हो गया, there's nothing that can be done after that. अगर कोई गलती भी हो गया मेरे से और if I was not the best in something, I can't change it and go back and do something. So started being more practical as to what steps I can take in the future and how I can think. So these changes which I brought about was more about my mindset and started reflecting in my actions also. So that's about it. It's just about how you see things and how you need to talk to yourself about everything. You need to tell that something has happened, it might have happened for a reason. So try to learn from it and try to be positive about it instead of just cribbing about small things.
Okay, I like to quote one line जो मेरा पर्सनली मानना है, the clutter bed show the clutter mind.
Correct.
कितना करेक्ट तो ठीक है।
बहुत करेक्ट यार, because it starts off, see, bed is something that you are 8 to 10 hours on the bed every day, and if that is only not organized, it shows your sense of awareness, sense of spatial awareness. If you are surrounded by an environment which is not tidy, which is very shabby, you're not fully active mentally. Okay, it matters a lot. घर में माहौल कैसा है, रूम का माहौल कैसा है, and the bed, if it's very shabby, you don't feel active, you don't feel positive. So it's about the vibe and about the aura.
Okay, that's great. You talk about the aura, but एक बात बताओ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल थोड़ा सा डीप में ले जाता हूँ, द क्लटर बेड मीन्स क्लटर माइंड। मैं देखा जो इंसान ना क्लटर माइंड होता है ना, उसके लिखने में भी वो चीज़ दिखती है, उसके बोलने में वो चीज़ दिखती है। वो ना एक बार में सेंटेंस नहीं करेगा, वो करेक्ट करके करेगा हमेशा, और कटिंग बहुत करेगा अपने लिखने में। इज इट ऑल ट्रू?
As far as I have observed, it is true. Okay, maybe might not be true in some cases, but as most of the cases, this is the case. Because see, if you are not able to do something as simple as that, that's the first thing you see when you wake up, how your bed is and things like that, or first thing you go before you go to sleep, first thing you see. Okay, if that is not clear, and it just shows lack of organization, and your mind is always scattered. You're not able to focus on one particular thing, and it just distracts you a lot.
Okay, and your parents become so happy कि यार मेरा बच्चा बदल गया है, और तुम्हारी बहन कह रही है भैया आप मुझसे प्यार नहीं करते, क्या कहानी क्या है उसकी?
So चीज ये था कि पहले आई यूज्ड टू ऑलवेज बी इन माय रूम, एंड मान लो फोन का चार्जर है या लैपटॉप का चार्जर है और हॉल में पड़ा हुआ है, आई वुड आस्क हर टू ब्रिंग इट. ओके, मैं कभी जाके उठ के नहीं लेके आता, आई वुड आस्क हर टू ब्रिंग इट, और I would ask her to put the food on the plate for me and things like that. Okay, now these are things which I can do on my own self. I don't have to be dependent on other people. So slowly I started doing these things myself. Okay, and she's very young, she's in 7th standard now. Okay, so she is like abhi kya pyar kam ho gaya kya, you don't ask me to do all these things for you. So that's about it.
She is so sweet. But what's your father's reaction, parents' reaction when they see कि यार मेरा बच्चा पूरा बदल गया?
So my father used to always say, and other people used to tell him, he's like, he'll learn when the time is right. Okay, he used to tell me he's very conscious about self cleanliness and how well you organize your life. He used to always tell me. At one point of time, he kind of realized that जब right time आएगा तो ये खुद सीख जाएगा, because they used to try to tell me a lot. Even my +2 and first year of engineering and all, they used to tell me कि organized रहो and don't be so lazy and all that. And I used to not listen to them. I was like, okay, fine, and I never started doing anything. Now he knows that I'm doing all this for a purpose. So it's not कि ऐसे ही मैं कर रहा हूँ and all that. I believe you need to have a strong motivation if you need to bring about a change in yourself. For me being rejected in my first SSB, that was motivating enough for me to bring in these changes in my life. So he was very happy, even my mother.
That's great. But अब जरा मैं ना ट्विस्टिंग वाले कराता हूँ. Now it seems like ना रोहन बहुत बदल गया है. ठीक है ना। नाउ रोहन भारद्वाज को अपना वाई मिल गया है कि यार मुझे ये क्यों करना है, ठीक है ना। बट रोहन भारद्वाज आफ्पा में मॉक इंटरव्यू लेता है, सिलेक्शन होने के बाद कमांडर साहब को, कमांडर संजीव जी हैं, उनको मैसेज भी करता है, ठीक है, ये सब भी कर रहा है। तो अगर पर्सनैलिटी चेंज हो गई है, व्हाट्स द नीड ऑफ गोइंग टू दोस कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट, व्हाट्स द नीड ऑफ इट?
See, coaching institute for me, it was a reality check. Okay, so I wanted to know if whatever changes I had brought about in my life is it being reflected in my personality. And I believe that there is no better thing to get assessed than a personal interview, because a personal interviewer, he'll know everything about you. It's not just about what you speak; it's also about what is behind your thought process and all that. Okay, so there are so many things you wouldn't even know you're talking about, and I say because he is nice to you in most of the cases. Okay, so you would have been talking and you would have told so much about yourself that even you won't know. Okay, so I wanted to get a reality check if these actions I have implemented in my life, if they're actually being reflected across to the other person sitting across the table. So that was the reason I took a mock interview.
ठीक है, मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा, उसका जवाब मत देना आप। जीटीओ था फर्स्ट टाइम में, ही वाज लाइक ये क्या है, ये तो जिंदगी में देखा नहीं है यार कभी, ये है क्या चीज, इसका रियलिटी चेक नहीं करना चाहा आपने? आई डोंट वांट यू टू आंसर राइट नाउ, ठीक है, बट आई वांट टू आस्क यू वन मोर थिंग। व्हेन यू, व्हाट इज द रीजन, व्हाट इज द व्हाई यू चेंज?
So, as I said, Shubham, it's all about your reason for motivation. Okay, if you have a strong enough reason, you will start bringing in these changes in your life. So, after I got conferenced out in my first attempt, there were areas which I felt I was lacking in, because these things I always thought in my mind, ki aisa banna hai, and the ideal version of myself. And then I never, before my SSB, I never sat down and before my first attempt, I never sat down and started implementing these things. It was very wishful of me to, just think about how I want to be. So now I actually know where I have to improve. So I started taking steps on that, started being more responsible, time management, responsibility, and things like that. Yeah. So
ओके, दैट्स ग्रेट, दैट्स ग्रेट। आई थिंक ये पर्सनैलिटी वाली बात मैं आज तक पहली बार डिटेल में कर रहा हूँ। इफ यू सेड कि शुभम आई सी योर चैनल, ठीक है, एंड व्हेन यू मैसेज, मैंने कहा दैट्स ग्रेट मैन, थैंक्स फॉर टेलिंग दैट, बट या मैंने पर्सनैलिटी के बारे में इतना जिक्र नहीं किया। एंड यू सेड मी शुभम योर चैनल इज अंडररेटेड, सो मतलब मुझे समझ नहीं आया कि ये कनेक्शन क्या है।
So, see, channels like these and even coaching institutes, what I believe is they help you to project yourself in a better way. Okay, जो भी तुम्हारे अंदर है, to put it across the table in a better way. So there is two aspects to doing well in the SSB. This is what I believe. Okay, first is bringing about your own changes in your own life. Okay, this nobody can help you. You need to sit down. You are what 20, 23 in that age group. You are old enough. Okay, so you need to sit down and you need to actually bring in changes in your life. Second aspect is how to project these changes. So this is where all coaching institutes and channels like yours, there are certain do's and don'ts in every task of the SSB. Like for example, maybe अगर GP में first time कर रहा हूँ GP, I wouldn't know how to approach it, priorities लिखना है, and what are the resources available. Because these are situations I might see in my everyday life, but I don't sit down and write all those. Okay, I might discuss and all that, but you need to know how to organize your thoughts, and you need to know how to write your stories. You need to know that there should be actions involved in your story and things like that. Okay, these are things which you can learn about how to project yourself better. So first you need to bring in changes in your life, and then you need to know how to project those changes in the right way. And the reason I told your channel is very underrated is because of the quality of content you put across, and you're not appreciated enough. So
that's your modesty over there. Thank you so much. मुझे तो लगता है काफी प्यार मिल गया, 1 लाख तक पहुंच गया तो बड़ी बात है। बट मुझे एक बात और आश्चर्य की, मैंने कहा कर्नल हसबनी सर जो आफ्पा गई हैं, मैंने इनका इंटरव्यू लिया, एंड यू आर अ पर्सन, यू आर ऑलरेडी रिकमेंडेड एंड यू आर वाचिंग द वीडियो। मैंने कहा मेरे को लॉजिक समझ नहीं आया।
So I got recommended on June 11th, okay, and Colonel Hasabnis sir ka video, it came out last week or something.
जी जी।
So it just pops up on my YouTube notifications, okay, and whenever I just scroll through, your videos make a lot of sense to me. I am able to relate and things like that, okay. So that's why that time I was just it was my rest time, okay. So I was like, why not see this? And if I wanted to see if there are some things which I have not implemented, or just I also see it as a thing you can learn, because GP is something where you can be very practical. Okay, so that's the reason. It was not for SSB because I don't have any SSBs coming up now. Okay, so it was just your videos make sense to me. That's why I just watch it.
दैट्स ग्रेट, थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच। बट अभी जरा आते हैं वो वाले पहले वाले सवाल पे, जीटीओ, जिससे आपको पहले अटेम्प्ट में थोड़ा डर लग रहा था, ठीक है। पहले अटेम्प्ट में जब आप क्या कहते हैं इस चीज को देखते हैं जीटीओ को, आपको लगता है भैया ये क्या है, ये तो मतलब हम तो इंजीनियर होने के बावजूद भी हमारे नई चीज लग रही है, ये क्या है। तो ये आपको कॉन्फिडेंस आ कैसे रहा है जीटीओ का, मतलब मुझे समझ ही नहीं आया।
So there, first time जब मैं गया, I was very blank, okay, because as you said, I'd never seen these structures before. And कुछ बच्चे थे कि जो पहले से वीडियो देखे आए, बुक्स पढ़ के आए, कोचिंग लेके आए, they were doing it. And you know, I was just the okay, take my hand, take support, ऐसा वाला बंदा, ठीक है. Not many ideas, and इधर उधर एक दो आइडिया दिया था मैंने, उससे ज्यादा नहीं, okay. Then after during my second attempt, I realized that it is something which you can implement, having very, you can just calm your mind down, and it's not a very tough thing. It requires practicality and thinking कि अगर ऐसा एक स्ट्रक्चर है, ठीक है, उसमें एक येलो कलर पोर्शन है, and if this is the only place, then it's obvious that this is the way you have to go forward with. You can't keep any of your supporting materials on this side, so you need to figure out, you need to be practical at that point of time. Okay, you need to see where you need to observe the structure very carefully. This is not something I did in my first time. Okay, you need to observe the structure very carefully.
But come on, see, this is ना on हवा की बात है, मैं लिटरली बुरा मत मानेगा, जब हवा की बातें हो रही है, मुझे लग रहा है इनको समझ में आ भी रहा होगा, एक सिंगल बात भी, जो पहली बार फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट वाला है ना, उसको तो बिल्कुल नहीं समझ में आ रहा होगा, गारंटेड, कि भाई ये रोहन भारद्वाज भाई क्या बोल रहा है, बोल सही रहे हो। बट यार एक बात सोचो, नाउ इफ यू आर जस्ट अ फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट वाला बंदा, नाउ सेकंड अटेम्प्ट वाला रोहन भारद्वाज फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट वाले को क्या एडवाइस देगा ऐसी?
I would just one golden advice I would give: just observe the structure carefully. Number one, okay.
Okay.
Second thing, be practical. सोचो कि अगर ये इधर रखूंगा, if I keep it there, what will happen after that? Don't you have a clarity in your mind? Okay, these two are very important. First thing is being practical. कि see, if there's a yellow color portion or a red color portion, it's obvious that you can't proceed from that path. Okay, so be practical and use your materials in the most efficient manner. Okay, see if it's reaching, and where you can make a cantilever, things like that. See, most of it, actually 70% of it is based on cantilever. Okay, as far as
that's true, that's 100% true. but मैंने ना एक बात ऑब्जर्व की है अपने जीटीओ से, पीजीटी से, कि अगर आप ये मान के चलो, फर्स्ट आई गिव द पैप टॉक, भाई अगर पॉइंट ए दिया और पॉइंट बी दिया है, इसने दिया है, तो भाई ये जुड़ेंगे, 100% जुड़ेंगे। कैसे जुड़ेंगे वो तेरे को दिमाग लगाना है, जुड़ने तो वाले हैं, वरना देता नहीं तेरे को।
Exactly, this is one approach which will help a lot. Okay, so there will be multiple options to go forward with. Okay, there is no one single solution to, especially in PGT. Okay, command task में शायद हो सकता है, command task और half group task में, particularly in PGT, always remember that if you're stuck in something, there will be option B to that. Okay, and if your team is taking too long to progress with it, if they are trying various things, and you can rather approach it in such a way that if this is not working out, there has to be an option B. And this is true in all the PGTs I've seen, maybe in the videos or maybe in both my attempts in my SSBs. There will always be a plan B. And sometimes, so I told you that 70% is cantilever, okay. In 10% ऐसा होता है कि it'll be very simple. For me, for example, for mine, PGT number 4, it was a obvious cantilever you could see there, okay. एक structure था, so you could make out any banda, who knows what a cantilever is, he would go ahead with that only first. Okay, my team was trying too long with that. Okay, they were not able to, structure was not being stable, and if somebody tried to walk on it, they were falling off and things like that. Side में एक छोटा सा structure था, ठीक है, nobody was observing that, none of us. Okay, then at that point, that was, luckily I observed that, and it was direct bridging. You don't need any rope, any cantilever, nothing. It was direct bridging. But people fail to observe these minute things, carefully. That is what brings in the change. Observe the whole thing. Don't just stick to one path. And obviously you need to concentrate on what you're going forward with. But also, if you're stuck there, always know that there's a plan B. And most of the times that is simpler when you're stuck in a particular thing.
Okay, that's great. That's very good. But यार एक बात बताओ मेरे को, मेरे को ना दो बातें समझ में आई पूरे, मैं जब उससे फोन पे बात कर रहा था, मैंने कहा एक, इस बंदे ने अपनी पर्सनैलिटी में चेंज लाया, दूसरा इसने जीटीओ को थोड़ा रिलैक्स माइंड से सोचा, तीसरी बात इसने पर्सनल इंटरव्यू में बात की, ठीक है ना, कि पर्सनल इंटरव्यू कैसे करना है, क्या करना है, थोड़ा दिमाग को करा। मेरा इंटरव्यू देखा, मॉक इंटरव्यू देखा, जो बहुत पसंद आया है, क्या रगड़ा मिला उसमें, ठीक। बट एक बात बता यार, कॉन्फ्रेंस इन फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में स्क्रीन होना It's a first of all big thing. I don't know how whether you realize later or not, but it's a very big thing. Screen होना. What your thumb rule is. Right now our viewers can see a picture and this is exactly a picture जो उनको PPDT में दिखती है. अब जरा मैं हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन में आता हूँ जो ये नॉर्मली कैंडिडेट्स बनाते हैं. उनको बोला जाता है बी योरसेल्फ. तो एग्जैक्टली बी योरसेल्फ बनता है. कैसे? मान लो खेत वाला सीन है, ये आदमी मुझे दिख रहा है खेत का होता है, ठीक है, फार्मर है और उसने डांट दिया. अब डांट इस बात पे दिया कि भैया ये आम के बाग हैं, ये यहाँ पर ये खेलने मत आया करो, मेरी फसल खराब हो जाएगी, क्रॉप भी लगी हुई है. मैंने कहा हाँ ठीक है हम नहीं खेलने आएंगे. और जैसे ही वो चला जाता है फिर वो खेलना शुरू करता है. टाइमिंग डिसाइड कर ली होती है. नाउ सी दे आर एक्चुअली व्हाट दे आर. सोचो, ठीक है, बट देयर इज सम प्रॉब्लम. और इज दिस ऑल राइट कि ऐसी ही पिक्चर का आंसर लिखते हैं कि उनको बोला जाता है बी योरसेल्फ व्हिच यू हैव हर्ड इन योर वेरी फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट. व्हाट डू यू लाइक टू से ऑन दैट?
So, see, the first thing I would see here is if somebody is trying to scold you and you're just trying to avoid it and, overcome that situation, I don't think that would be a practical approach, because here you're just trying to avoid some problem you're facing, okay? You're not confronting it, or you're not taking steps to, convince the farmer or anything like that. First thing, why I would avoid this kind of a storyline is because of that. Because it just shows that I'm trying to avoid, okay? And see, about being yourself, it also, the beauty of SSB is that it actually reflects what you are, okay? This is 100% true. If you are a person who tries to avoid situations and use your smartness to overcome, in a foolish way, okay, this will be reflected. That is what I feel for sure, okay? So first thing I would do in any picture, I would observe what is there carefully. So we are given 30 seconds to look at the picture. Most of the people know 15 seconds they'll see and they'll start building up a story, okay? What I would advise is first 30 seconds completely observe the picture, observe the background, observe what kind of clothes they're wearing and things like that, okay? Because see, those kids, they appear to be 18-19-year-old and they are some NCC students or something, because socks unka tik tak hai, shirt they're wearing a proper half sleeve shirt and things like that, okay? So first observe the picture very carefully. Then you actually have plenty of time to, you have 1 minute to write the action. That time you can start building up your story, because that 1 minute you just have to write one sentence, okay? Nothing much. After that you're given 4 minutes to write the story. That 1 minute, that time you start building up your story. This 30 seconds, try to stay blank, observe it carefully and understand whatever is there, grasp it completely. After these 30 seconds are done, then start building up your story.
So what did you observe over here? क्या observe किया आपने?
वही कि first thing he looks like a farmer, okay? धोती पहना and it looks like a turban he's wearing on his head, and he's trying to tell something to those people, and it's not a normal conversation they're having, okay? It's not like गप्पे कर रहे ऐसे ही, and not maybe he's trying to explain a problem or he's trying to explain something to them because his hands are forward, okay? That is the first thing I would observe. And those 3 or 4 other people who are there, they, as I told, they appear to be maybe NCC students or something like that, okay? So that is the first thing. And I also observe the backdrop. It looks like a open area, field or something like that, okay? So bringing in stories where uska cricket खेल रहे थे और उसका glass टूट गया and things like that, maybe it wouldn't match the backdrop, okay? Because in an open field, cars won't be parked most of the cases, okay? So okay, fine. Maybe it's a farm scene and the farmer is trying to scold them कि ऐसा मत करो इधर and things like that. And instead of just avoiding the situation, अरे यार ये डांट रहा है, बाद में आके खेलेंगे, it just shows that you're trying to push it aside and trying to just avoid it and things like that, okay? So I would go ahead with it such as my main character is trying to explain to the farmer as to why it's important for them to play and things like that. And also if he's trying to scold them about something, maybe it's disturbing him around the farmer and his field is getting spoiled and things like that, he'll agree to it, saying okay, we agree to it that it's disturbing you. Henceforth when we play, we'll come and play, but we won't disturb you. We'll keep our voice low and things like that. And about the farm being spoiled, we'll take care that we play in such a manner, or we'll play some sport where you're maybe पहले football खेलते थे, अभी with they're playing volleyball or something like that, or wherein a large area is not required and things like that. So that is what I would go ahead with.
But एक बात बताओ, when जब आपने ऐसा कुछ बताया, ठीक है, so what's always go in your head? मतलब ऐसा लग रहा है that your mind is wired to always make a such kind of that amazing story which you have an analytics कि हाँ ऐसा करना है. आपके दिमाग में कंफ्यूजन क्यों नहीं होता? कहानी सुनने को बहुत यूट्यूब पे भी बहुत सारी हैं, बहुत लोग कहते रहते हैं.
So, as I said, 30 seconds, observe it very carefully, okay? After that, choose, maybe take 5 or 10 seconds out of those 1 minute, choose a particular storyline, okay? And stick to the storyline. See how you can improve your story. Because if you keep having multiple options there, your time will start running out, okay? If you think, Arey yaar, ye karo ya wo karo, you won't have enough time for all that, okay? So, overall, bring up some story where you can write actions, okay? And in the previous, he's just scolding and he's trying to avoid and things like that. Maybe I can't write many actions. And this was something which happened in my first SSB in my TAT also. I was just writing, acha, theek hai, past batana hai, present batana hai, future batana hai. Some things, it's very important to implement actions in your life and also in the story indirectly. So that's how you can build up a story where you have something to write about. In 8 to 9 lines, you need to explain as to what actions you'll take. ऐसा नहीं कि अच्छा वो डांट रहा है बाद में आके खेलूंगा and things like that. Okay, so that's why I would pick a story where I can write actions, and once I pick on a story, I try to build on that. I try to go into little bit of depth, maybe more in TAT, but little less in PPDT. Build on that story and see how to, as you practice, you'll start thinking in a faster manner. You'll start getting in ideas more quickly. So that's about it. Yeah.
That's about it. But एक बात बताओ, ये तो स्टोरी लिखने की कहानी होगी. Once you write the story, then the narrations come. You said कि यार you are naturally good in that. ठीक है, क्योंकि आप डिबेट में सब में पार्ट ले रहे थे. But the part is GD. आपने GD देखा होगा अपने कॉलेज टाइम में, बट दिस GD इज डिफरेंट. हाँ, तो फिर भी तुम्हें बोलने का चांस मिल जाएगा, बट यहाँ नहीं मिलेगा. नाउ लेट्स पिक ऑन दिस पिक्चर. जीडी हो रही है, ठीक है. नाउ आई एम काइंड ऑफ पर्सन, यू स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग एंड you said something very good, so I see in the uniform, okay, good, chest number 16. What I observe that they know they are not an NC kind of student, they are the students. Now they are, मतलब ऐसे लोग होते हैं एकदम से काट देते हैं, बोलने ही नहीं देते. तुम बोल रहे थे भैया, तमीज नहीं है तुमको, क्या हम बोल रहे हैं तुम सुन नहीं सकते क्या? So what's your call on that?
See, if majority of them are agreeing with what he's saying, then it's not wrong for me to agree with them, okay? But if he's the only person saying it, and I would try to explain him as to why it makes sense for these people to be in a uniform. I would just explain in a logical manner, okay? अगर वो कुछ भी बोले, चाहे, see, the main aim of the group discussion in PPDT is to come to a common conclusion, okay? If many people in my group, they are agreeing to what I'm saying, if they're in uniform, NCC, वगैरह वगैरह, so I would try to bring in somewhere. If he's saying that, I would tell him that, see, most of the people are agreeing, so let's try to build on this common story. And if there is a particular thing which he's spoken about and he makes sense in that particular thing, I would be like, okay, I don't agree with this part, but that thing what you said, that makes sense, so maybe you can include that in a story. Okay, so it depends on how you say to that person also. You need to still maintain your calm. Okay, you can't, just because he's countering you doesn't mean you need to get aggressive on that. You need to be assertive but not aggressive. Okay, so you need to explain if it's logical enough. If aisa nahi ki if 10 people are countering you, you need to counter all those 10 people individually. If most of my group members are agreeing with what I'm saying, and if this person is saying something which doesn't make sense, then try to explain in a logical manner as to why that does not make sense. That's all.
Okay, but मेरा सवाल रह गया. मेरा सवाल क्या था? मेरा सवाल, आपने कई सारी बहुत अच्छी बातें कही हैं. मेरा सवाल ये था कि आपके बोलते बोलते आपको काट रहा है वो. आप बोल रहे हो एनसीसी, नो नो नो, लिसन टू मी, दिस इज आवर स्टूडेंट्स आर देयर. सो जब आप बोल रहे हो, आपने अपनी बात खत्म भी नहीं की है, बट वो अपनी बात रख दे रहा है. हाउ डू यू कैच अप बैक? बिकॉज़ यार रखनी तो है बात.
I won't stop talking if I am in a flow and people are listening to me. I won't stop talking. वो चाहे जो भी कर ले, ठीक है? I won't raise my voice or anything like that. I would maintain my tone, but I would complete my sentence. I would not, because see, GD here, it's like a race, okay? Because they are trying to cut off people, they're trying to eliminate. So everyone would want to do better and try to show themselves across. Just, I believe that, see, first of all, forget that there are 3 assessors sitting there, okay? Actually, think of it as a group discussion. Many people, what they try to do is, just because to impress them, they'll try to say something and all that, okay? First of all, forget that they're there. This applies to even GTO. We'll come to that later, but in PPDT, forget that they are there. Be involved in your group. Some people, they'll be talking here, they'll be looking at the, assessor sitting there. That doesn't show your involvement in the discussion. You're just trying to prove them that, or rather try to fool them that I'm doing well, look at me. Okay, so just forget that they're there, but remember that you're in a group discussion. You need to be civilized and talk in a particular manner where you make sense. Don't just talk just for the sake of talking. Okay, that is very. It looks very stupid and foolish also. If you're just
Okay,
trying to
let's
say,
do a one demo of it. Suppose this is starting of GD and Shubham Varshney got a chance. So gentlemen, I observed there were the 3 to 4 characters over there, and the three were boys, and the one is the farmer over there, and the boys are of NCC candidate. And right now we have a opportunity that we can make a hero from this NCC because they look like us. Okay, अब यहाँ पर वो रुक गया एकदम से, सन्नाटा हो जाता है, होता है कभी कभार, होता है एकदम सन्नाटा से हो जाता है, अभी क्या करना है, अभी क्या करना है, and then suddenly everyone starts speaking. Now what's your call
so
on these instances?
yeah, see these small moments of silence that you get, those are what you need to capitalize on, okay? Because you won't get many opportunities to speak there. So any moment where you can pitch in, have your ideas ready, okay? If there are 100, some 5, 6 people talking, it's okay. You talking at that point would not make sense. Have your ideas ready and observe what everyone is talking. If you can maybe pick on some particular aspects which really make sense to you, pick on those aspects, okay? And when these small gaps are there, when not many people are talking and things like that, pitch in your points there. Doesn't necessarily have to be your story. If something is, you've observed something, it's making sense to you, you can acknowledge that, okay, we can include this in our story. See, the common name is to bring up a common story, that's all, okay? So if some, and the better the story, the better the discussion will go and things like that, okay? So just try to pick on those small things which are making sense from what others are talking also. And also maybe if you can add to it, see if you can combine 2 of those sentences and further improve that or something like that. So this is what I would do in a group discussion.
That's
And
amazing you do, but यार repeaters are like a machine gun. धर 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 धर. एक यहाँ से छोटा, दूसरा यहाँ से छोड़ जाएगा, ठीक है ना? They are like that. And let's if चलो एक काम करते हैं, एक मॉक जीडी छोटा सा करते हैं. You and I are speaking right now, ठीक है? And I'm just moving the जो पहला वाला पॉइंट बोला था उसके हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. Yes, yes, chest number 17 has said very good. They are the NCC candidate over there. And what we can see right now that they are talking to farmer and the farmer is in a little panic situation. So what we can do help? Maybe there's something like the cow has been run away or something like that. We can help her. What do you say, friends?
correct, I can agree with that. Let's put it in such a way across that these NCC people who are there, they're trying to help the farmer in such a situation, and they've come up with ideas. Let's go ahead with the ideas what we might face here. Okay, so as you said, the cattle might have run away, so they can start asking practical questions as to which direction the cattle headed, and when was the cattle last seen, and things like that. So these are the actions we can maybe include in our story. So
Okay, now that's a very good point. Now एक बात बताओ, you add a point in my point, ठीक है?
see,
So what are
because
the advantage of doing this? One, जो पहला वाला बंदा I think वो आपके favor में आ ही गया. What other advantage you
exactly.
find?
See here, what the main reason why I agree to what you're saying is it makes sense, okay? Because see, farmer is trying to explain something and he's putting across his problem, and it looks like that in the picture also. So it makes sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead with it, okay? So see, if I only tell, whatever you're saying makes sense to me, there is no contribution from my side. Also, see, the main aim is to come to a common conclusion, but also you need to contribute to that, okay? Maybe not your own views. If you are making sense to me, I can build upon that. So just don't try to, okay, I agree with you. Take up some initiative, build up a story. If I'm giving you all the opportunity to speak, I'm not showing any of my qualities. No, it's just, okay, if you are making sense, go ahead, you do it. मुझे क्या? That is the attitude I would see if I'm just like, हाँ ठीक है, जो तू बोल रहा है वो सही है. What is the next point you would bring up and things like that, you know? You are making the.
That's amazing, brother. That's amazing. Even without a very good coaching foundation, ना कि मतलब पहली बार इंसान आउट हो जाता है, उसके बावजूद भी बहुत सही क्लैरिटी है यार. You did a very good observation. Very good. Okay. Now यहाँ से हम आगे चलते हैं. ठीक है. Narration we did the part of GD we do the PPDT. But don't you think there are some kind of myths around your places? You always hear, no OIR कभी check नहीं होता. The everywhere. I have talked in my video 100 times. ठीक है. AFCAT वालों को चलो एक advantage होता है because they had done the reasoning in the past. The reasoning come in the use. But did you ever felt like that? I always felt यार मुझे तो बहुत यूज लगता है. मुझे तो PIQ फॉर्म में भी OIR टॉप राइट पे लिखा होता है. They right now can see on the screen. And उसके बाद में लगता है यार OIR has some play. What's your theory on that?
See, my belief is they have given you something. Do the best in everything. Forget about वो check करे कि ना करे, वो उनका काम है. उनको करना है तो वो करेंगे, नहीं करना है तो नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है. Just do the best in everything you can. No, why depend on one particular thing and things like that. See, OIR according to me it's fairly easy. Okay, it's not very tough. See, how I approach OIR is I try to do whichever is easy first. All these English ones and idioms and phrases and antonyms, synonyms and all, they're fairly simple and they're not even AFCAT level. Okay, the AFCAT में तो you come across words you have not heard before. Here 90% of the words you would have heard. For example, brittle या फिर brilliant, not brilliant, maybe something like that. Okay, I'm not getting ideas now, but you would have heard of these things before in your life. You'll know the meaning to it, so you can start doing that first. Okay, and after that you can come to these dice problems and things like that where they're similar, and it, because that will take a little more time. Okay, and you need to twist and you need to imagine and things like that. That'll take more time. So first finish off whatever you know in OIR, and then बाकी का जो भी time बचा है, you just see, because those dice problems, no, या तो दो ही option होते हैं, या फिर yes या फिर no. Okay, so the probability of you being correct is 50% here. Rather than
that's absolutely right, brother. You are saying, very right. But एक बात बताओ, did you heard some myths or do you see some candidates जो ना पोजीशन गैदर करने की कोशिश करते हैं, यार मैं कोने में बैठूं किसी तरह से जीडी में, आई विल सेंटर में बैठूं यार, या मेरा आखिर में है यार, ऐसा होना चाहिए, एकदम से पहले बोलने को ना. डू यू मीट दोस काइंड ऑफ गाइस? मुलाकात हुई है?
I do, but see, that is not something which is in your control. Okay, so forget about thinking about those things, and वो कोई फायदा नहीं होता, because wherever you are, if you're making sense, people will still listen to you, no matter if you're sitting in the corner or in the center. If you're being, talking sense and coming to the point, people will come to you, because some people, they just they just keep trying to beating around the bush. Okay, they don't come to the point. Obviously nobody would want to listen to people like that. So don't focus much on what is not in your control. Chess number वैसे ही बताते हैं, so the chess numbers are not in your control. So wherever you are, just try to be your best. That's all.
That's great. So we done the screening part. So you 2 times get screened. But what about the psych, यार? I like to talk about all the 12 pictures. पहली 11 पिक्चर्स मेरे हिसाब से कभी कभार ऐसा होता है कि 11 पिक्चर में कुछ पिक्चर ऐसी होती हैं, ऐसा लगता है रिपीटेड है यार, ये तो आई है, ये तो अभी जस्ट आई थी, अभी क्या लिखूं? Did happen to you?
It happened. So one of those stories, what happened, I had also already gone across with one idea. It looked like a fort to me, okay, and there was no cannon which was seen, but I made up a story that the cannon which was there was very old and it was getting rusted and things like that. Okay, so I made up a story where he's trying to create awareness about this and show the significance of this. Okay, here the cannon was not seen, but it was a fort. That much I could understand. After some 3 or 4 pictures, this only a cannon was shown, a person standing next to a cannon. Now already I had put up a cannon in my story. I can't obviously put the same thing in my story. So now I thought about it. I took some time. I thought about it, and I came up with a story where my great grandfather, he had served in Tipu Sultan's army or something like that. And there was I actually wanted to go and see that place because of my historical connection and my ancestral connection. I wanted to go and see that, and I learned about my family, about my roots and things like that. First thing, if I had not written that story there, I would obviously write that story here, okay, because that is the first thing that comes into my mind. Here, you also need to be a little smart, okay. You can't write the same story in a different way. That doesn't show that. It just shows that you have one idea and you're sticking to that no matter what. Okay, so here it took some time. Okay, maybe I took 30 seconds more to think about it. What I can come up with. Okay, now I have to write my story fast and things like that. Okay, so
जब होता है ना 30 सेकंड तुम एक्स्ट्रा लेते हो सोचने के लिए, तब ना दिल की धड़कन बता रही तेरा टाइम गया, तू तो गया, ये तो छोटी स्टोरी. Just ideas do not come directly in the head. That's an amazing feeling of the the TED part or SSB part. मुझे भी पता लगा वो जानबूझ के घड़ी नहीं लगाते, लगाना भूले नहीं है वो, जानबूझ के.
Exactly. If you see, I don't know about other SSBs. AFSB में तो there's no wall clock. Okay, that is the main reason. You need to know how to manage your own time, and this is more particular in SRT. 30 मिनट देते हैं. VAT में तो ठीक है, हर 15 सेकंड में एक वर्ड आता है, तो you know कि कितना हुआ, 26 हुआ है, 30 हुआ है. Okay, SRT कुछ नहीं पता चलता. Start of the half an hour, end of the half an hour. That's all. So these things you need to practice and you need to have an estimate of the time.
Did something haunt in your mind? मेरे को अभी सुनने को आया है कि मेरी वीडियो से ही लोग हॉन्ट हो गए. मुझे बताया किसी ने, सर आपकी वीडियो देखा मैंने, 21 अटेम्प्ट में एक हुआ है, एक 8 अटेम्प्ट में हुआ है, 10 हुआ है. सब मेरे का तो सर अभी रिटन भी क्वालिफाई नहीं हो रहा सर. मेरे को पता नहीं क्या कब होगा, मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा है. These things ever haunt you in your head?
No, man, not really. See, first of all, written, at least for AFCAT is pretty easy, okay? So if you actually dedicate yourself and prepare at least for a month, 1 month is more than enough for AFCAT, okay?
But seems
But
like you are very clear in your head. मैं ऑफिसर बनूंगा. Rohan Bhardwaj will be an officer in the Indian Air Force. That's very clear in your head. How it is very clear? What's in your head?
it's just you need to keep talking to yourself, man. You just need to calm yourself down and you need to think practically, okay? See, because see, SSB, you might not clear, you make clear. That is different. It depends on how well you project and you won't get a real time check. Okay, तुम्हें लगता है कि तूने अच्छा किया है पर recommend नहीं हो पाया, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. या फिर तुझे लगता है कि यार ये अच्छा ही नहीं किया और बेहतर कर सकता था और recommend हो गया. There are something you don't know how they are assessing you. अगर if you knew, then you would be sitting there, right? So you don't know what they are seeing in you. So just try to be yourself. But here in the written exam, you know if it's correct or wrong. अगर कोई हिस्ट्री का सवाल पूछ रहा है कि when was Tipu Sultan born or when was Akbar born or something like that, you know either it's right or either it's wrong. So these are things which you can go ahead with ease, okay? So AFCAT and maybe even CDS, okay? I've looked at the papers. CDS requires a lot more preparation, but if you are dedicated and if you actually sit and study properly, you will clear it, okay? For me, if I would not clear it, I would blame myself for not being dedicated enough, okay? That's about it. Cutoff and things like that, that depends more on how, at least to clear the cutoff in AFCAT, it's not tough, okay? So that's about AFCAT. And coming to SSB is just about, you need to prepare for SSB also. That was one myth which I unfortunately believed in, that there's no preparation required for SSB. You might have it in you, you might have the confidence in you. You still need to show the person who you are, no? So that's about SSB.
That's about SSB. But okay, let's come to the 12th picture. Okay. In the 12th picture, what's your ideology on that? You write something related to your life, doesn't matter, कितनी बार भी दिखा दो आपको वो, आप मनगढ़ंत नहीं बना पाओगे. ठीक है, कहीं किसी पिक्चर की स्टोरी यहाँ पर नहीं डाल पाओगे. So what's your ideology? घर से प्रिपेयर कर गए थे, वहां पर तैयारी करी थी. What's happened?
So 12th story, what I did was I had 3 or 4 options in my mind, okay? I tried to pick it out from my instances in my life. So first thing, I was the football captain in my college, okay? So I picked on that one particular incident. I just had the incident in my, thing in my mind. I did not make a story and go because I didn't want it to be similar to the other stories, okay? That's the reason why I had 4 options. One was football. One was I was also part of my cultural team, college cultural team. Okay, so something about organizing my fest or something. And third thing was how in my apartment there's an association. जो कि COVID में we acted as COVID warriors or something like that. Maybe giving food to other people and things like that. So these are 3-4 things which I picked on. I had these ideas in my mind. Now depending on what I had written in my other 11 stories, if a picture was shown that 5 people are there in their sports uniform and things like that, football खेल रहा है ऐसा, then obviously I wouldn't write my football story. Or if some stage दिखा है and some people are trying to practice something, mic दिखा है, so it's obvious you're trying to organize a fest or something, so I wouldn't write that story. So depending on what, I would try to bring out something new. I wouldn't want to bring out something which I've already written. And that's the approach I follow for the 12th story. I may be wrong, but have some 3 or 4 ideas in your mind. Don't go ahead with one story because whatever you have thought, you may have exactly put it across in the same way in some other picture. So have some options ready, and at that point of time, try to actually include things from what you have done.
That's great words of yours, but actually अब इनको लग रहा है कि ये जो रोहन भारद्वाज है ये preconceived है.
They might believe that, man, but see. This is something which has actually happened in my life, okay? So I'm writing about that. Idea might be preconceived, but I believe what you write there, that cannot be preconceived, okay? So
but that's you, yes, that's you.
Yeah, you can't mug up a story and go, okay? So try to, okay, if there was a football event, I would bring up something where tomorrow is the finals or something, and how I'm trying to motivate my teammates, okay? The opponent might be very strong and things like that. If I've written this previously, I don't want to write it again. So here, at the spot, whatever I can recall from my experiences, that is what I follow, man.
That's amazing. Okay, now let's go to the part where we understand about the SD, self-description. I think SD आपके लिए ज़्यादा आसान हुआ होगा because you have changed a lot in yourself. Now the SD is more easy for you. और मुझे लगता है PI भी बहुत interesting हुआ होगा, कुछ ना कुछ तो इन बातों में बात हुई होगी.
बहुत So SD, one thing I believe, okay. See, I've heard a lot of people telling, अरे यार मेरा टैट और वैट अच्छा नहीं गया, पर SD तो मैं कमाल का लिख के आया, ठीक है. For me, SD is something just used for cross verification, okay. See,
हाँ.
by the time they read your TAT, WAT and SRT, they have some mental image about you, they have some perception about you. They want to just cross check if what they think is exactly similar to what you think about yourself, okay. So it doesn't happen that there's no beautiful SD or there's no bad SD, okay. It's just accurate SD. So you can't over glorify yourself or you can't underplay yourself, okay. So it just how accurate you are about yourself, that's all I believe about SD, okay. See, because they have been doing this for years, okay. Then they're trained to do it, so they have understood you. By the time they see your other responses, they have understood you. They want to see if that is matching with what you have written about yourself. That's all I believe about SD.
That's great. इतना हो गया, पर एक बात बताओ, when you know entering for the personal interview, did you get a chance to talk about your change in your life, what you did?
Late Later on, so there was one question where he asked, what happened in the previous attempt, and why did you feel you didn't get recommended, and what changes you made. So I brought in all these. I was just like, sir, it was a series of minute changes I brought in my life, and it's more about your attitude and the way you think. And one more important thing is, it matters a lot about your surroundings, the people you surround yourself with, and the people you interact with. They have a huge impact on you. Okay, so last attempt I was not in the best mindset. Okay, there was some things which happened in my life, which may have, I may not be in the best mental shape. Okay, so try to cut out all unwanted things and negativity from your life. Try to surround yourself with positive people. Try to have conversations with people who make sense to you. Okay, don't just, it's not, I'm not asking you to cut off your friends from before, but the conversations you have with them and the environment you surround yourself with, it matters a lot. So that's about it.
Okay, that's about. But एक बात बताओ, जब आप यहाँ पर पूरी एसएसबी थे, the people usually worry about what kind of performance they give. Don't you have the worry?
See, that is one thing which I did in my first SSB. Okay, first SSB, psychology was the first thing. Psychology acha nahi gaya, theek hai. That was something which I was constantly worrying about in the other days, and that will lead to you not being 100% focused on the other task. I'll tell you, when I was doing my GTO, वो ख्याल मेरे मन में आ रहा था. बाकी सारे PGT कर रहे थे, and I was thinking, अरे यार साइक में ऐसा कर सकता था, ऐसा कर सकता था. So that obviously I'm not able to focus on the task at hand. That is something which, जो हुआ होने दो, ठीक है. Forget about what has happened and see what you can overcome it. Okay, in the further whatever task you have, you can overcome it. So that's about it, man. Don't think
That
about
okay,
how
that's great. I
previous
like
things.
to relate this thing with the CPSS. What you get a one chance in a life, या तो क्लियर होगा या तो नहीं होगा. मेरी आपसे फोन पे बात हो रही, मैंने कहा भाई आपने, आई एम श्योर 100% गूगल पे सर्च, यूट्यूब पे सर्च सीपीएस के बारे में बहुत किया होगा. एंड आई टोल्ड यू भाई, मैंने बहुत कोशिश की इस पे वीडियो बनाने की, बट द मटेरियल इज नॉट इनफ अवेलेबल कि मैं इस पे बना सकूं. एंड वी कम टू द कंक्लूजन कि इसके बारे में ऐसी बात करते हैं जो माइंडसेट के बारे में. एंड आई थिंक देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ स्पेशल ट्रेनिंग ऑफ इट, बिकॉज सीपीएस हर हर उसमें हर एसएसबी में अलग अलग हो रहा है. मैसूर वॉज अ लकी वन कि आपको वहां मिल रहा है, बट जरूरी नहीं कि मैसूर ही मिले, आपको देहरादून भी मिल सकता है. सो व्हाट इज द नीड ऑफ इट? सीपीएस सिर्फ एक बार में तेरे को मिलता है.
See, CPSS, one golden rule. Okay, if you want to do well in CPSS, be as calm as possible, as focused as possible while doing that, because it requires a lot of multitasking and your hand-eye coordination and things like that. Okay, so be as focused as you are, the better it is. Okay, so see, the thing you told about once in a lifetime thing, instead of seeing it in a negative way that अरे यार इसमें fail हो गया तो क्या होगा, I won't be able to fly. Think of it as, if I clear this once, I'm through. Okay, I will get to fly. Merit list तो बाद में देख लेंगे, but if I clear my CPSS, I will get to fly. Okay, so that is the confidence I had in me. Okay, this is just one last hurdle I have to cross before I actually sit in a, see, you're asked to sit in a cockpit. Okay, that was something very proud of. I was getting goosebumps when I was sitting there. Okay, so there, the first thing I thought, if I do well in this, someday I'll actually get to sit in a cockpit. Okay, that is how I calm myself down. And see, CPSS, there might be games where you may not do well. Okay, some games are tough, some games are easy, at least as far as I perceive it. Okay, the tough games, it's fine, you might not be able to do well in a particular game or something. Okay, and that is why CPSS, they give a collective result. They don't take each task and score you on that. Overall, however you perform, either you pass or you fail. Okay. So if you've done very bad in one thing, it's completely fine. Just you can take a break in between. Like you won't be able to come out of the cockpit, but you need to press start. There's a button which says start. Okay, you need to press start for you to proceed to the next game. So you can 30 seconds or 1 minute, you can just close your eyes, just take some few deep breaths. It's fine if some game has gone bad, and just go ahead with the next game. Some games are very easy. Whatever is easy, try to do your best in that. Okay, that's what I believe for CPSS.
That's great. But एक बात बताओ, जब हम CPSS की बात कर रहे हैं, you told me there was a guy, you said as a personality he's better than you, but he failed to clear CPSS.
Yeah. So this I believe he might not have done well in that particular day, because I have seen him. He was there with me in my previous attempt. In my first attempt, he was my roommate. Okay. So I know him. I've spoken to him, and even after the SSB, we've been in constant touch. So it's not like he was just like any of us. Okay. And देख के तो नहीं लगता कि अरे यार इसका CPSS नहीं होगा. So it was nothing like that. So his SSB was after mine, and later he told me that he could not clear CPSS. Okay. So I don't know what exactly happened there, because I was not there. But if you're not, maybe you have not slept well the previous day, or you have not completely understood the rules. That is one very important thing. They give you instructions before you play every game. Okay. And even in stage 1 of CPSS, where you have your written test and all that, they give you rules very thoroughly. Okay. It's not that, there are some videos on YouTube where they explain these rules to you. My advice to you is, if you want, go through them once, but don't memorize them. Okay. You don't need, this game aa gaya, to kya karna hai, how to handle this and all that. Just go through it once if you want to, but there they will show you. It's a long video, 20 minutes, 30 minutes ka video. So try to, as much as possible, grasp those instructions. They'll tell you what to do, what not to do, and everything. Okay. So it's more about how you are in that particular day. Okay. If you are very nervous, and if you are very disorganized and all that, or lack of focus, that will affect your performance in CPSS. Okay. But it matters a lot on how well you do that particular day. So that's why I don't think CPSS is something which you can be coached for, because even you might not have the exact environment. Okay. I don't think anybody will make you sit in a modulated cockpit and you'll play games there. Maybe you might play a computer screen or something like that. Okay. And uska you already have a preconceived thing that SSI, and once you go there, it'll be something very different, and that will cause a shock to you, and maybe you will start worrying about all that. Okay. So CPS, that's all I believe, man. It's all about how well you do that particular day.
Okay, that's great. But एक बात बताओ, जब ये सब कुछ हो रहा था, जब कमांडर साहब की बात करें AFCAT की, ठीक है, फर्स्ट आई लाइक टू नो कि कमांडर चक्रपाणी सर देखे तुमने, यू सी हम ग्रिलिंग, शुभम वार्ष्णेय को एकदम पीस के, ठीक है, कि जितना निचोड़ना उतना. सो आई थिंक यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि कमांडर चक्रपाणी सर से मुलाकात होगी, राइट? बट इट डिडंट हैपन. यू मीट कमांडर संजीव सर. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, हाउ वाज इट?
See, first thing for me, any interview, anything, I want to talk to people in the armed forces. Okay, it's a matter of pride for me. So first thing, before I go to SSB or mock interview, whatever, that's the first thing. I'm getting an opportunity to talk to an officer. That is something which is positive for me right from the first go. Kaisa chalta hai, what happens there is secondary for me. First thing, somebody is interested to know about me. An armed forces officer wants to know about me. That is something very encouraging for me. Okay. So coming to the interview I took with Sanjeev sir. So there it went on. So he was also a pilot. Okay. I did not know that before, but I got to know about that later. But he was also from the armed forces. He's an air commodore. Okay. So he has rich experience.
रोहन आपकी तरह एक व्यूअर है, और रोहन ने मेरी वीडियो देखी है कमांडर चक्रपाणी सर की, और यहाँ पर उसको रियलाइज हो गया कि यार अगर मुझे रियलिटी चेक करना है तो मुझे AFCA का ये एक मॉक इंटरव्यू देना बहुत जरूरी है, और जैसे ही मैं यहाँ पर जाऊंगा तो मुझे कुछ सीखने को जरूर मिलेगा. और यहाँ पर उनकी मुलाकात हुई एयर कोमोडोर संजीव सर से, जिन्होंने AFCA में एनरोल लिया, और बहुत फायदा मिला. ये फायदा आप भी उठा सकते हो. नंबर आपकी स्क्रीन पर है, वेट मत करो, आपकी लाइफ है.
So he was the ex-president of 2FSB also. That was the main reason I wanted to get interviewed by him. If you're getting interviewed by a person who's been a president of the board, you're actually going to, and if he gives you a feedback, that is very encouraging for you and positive for you. Okay. So about what happened in the interview, it was I'd say good enough. Okay. Because whatever feedbacks he gave me, that included, positives and negatives. Okay. So the negatives he told me were something like, when you're admitting to your flaws, be open about them. Don't hesitate to talk about them. That was something I was doing. Okay, so whenever he was asking me about where I want to, where others see me in a negative way, I was not very open in admitting to it. Okay, so he's like, it's completely normal for any person to have flaws. So you need to talk about it. It's fine to talk about it. Okay, so that was one thing I actually implemented in my SSB also. And one more thing, so he was, I have a fair idea about aircraft and things like that. Okay, so I am from ECE background. Most of my studies, whatever I've done on aircrafts and all, they are about the radar and electronic warfare, and even a little bit of aerodynamics and things like that. I did not know much about engines and all that. Okay, so he started asking me about. I think he got to know that I don't know about the engines, so he started asking me about that. Okay, he's like, what's the difference between turbofan engine and turbojet engine? How does the turbojet engine work and all that? So at that point, I kind of lost my confidence because I thought that I knew everything about aircrafts. Okay, because I keep seeing YouTube videos and I keep searching on Google and all that. So this was something I did not expect for him to ask about engines. So there, my confidence somehow dipped down, and it was seen in my enthusiasm while I'm replying to him. Okay, I was very dragging and talking and all that. Okay, so he's like, it's okay if you don't know, just smile and tell that you don't know. You might know other things, and you might not know a few things. Smile and admit to it that you don't know stuff. Okay, so that was the negatives he told. Positives, he mainly told. He's like, you're doing well. Don't worry about that. A little more confidence you need to have in yourself, and be rest assured. Apart from whatever I've told you, everything else is going fine. So approach it with a positive mindset, and that matters a lot, man. How confident you are before approaching the SSB. See, if you don't have faith in yourself, how do you expect somebody else to have faith in you?
Yeah, can I ask you one thing? I personally believe that in any situation in life, I'm not talking about the SSB, but if you wear two things in your life, that is one is smile and the confidence, you will almost excel everywhere.
Exactly. As you said, not only in the SSB, if you're talking to some person, okay, and if you're very dull, for example, if I take you, I want to talk to you when I see you, okay. It's lively. The environment is lively. If you are only very dull, and if you seem disinterested in talking to me, I wouldn't want to talk so much to you. I would just answer little bit here and there, and I would constrain myself in answering to your
बस
questions.
खत्म करो उसको किसी भी
हाँ
तरह
वही, अरे यार ये तो कुछ भी पूछ रहा है, मैं बोल देता हूँ.
हाँ.
Okay, I would not be enthusiastic in talking about it and all that. So it matters a lot.
That's great. That's great insight of everything you did. But tell me one thing. I remember your words. You said, यार अगर जो इंटरव्यूअर है वो ग्रिल कर रहा है ना, वो और अच्छी बात है. That's the best thing. That's the most easiest interview. मैंने कहा क्या कह रहे हो यार रोहन भाई, मैं मनी मनी बात कहता हूँ, रोहन क्या कह रहा है. Why मतलब, और अगर एक इंटरव्यू बहुत शांत है, the sign of danger. Why?
Yeah. So see, as far as I observed, most of the interviewers, they follow two principles or something like that. Okay. So either they're very nice to you or they grill you. Okay, right from the starting. So I'll give you live examples of what happened in my first attempt. Okay. My interviewing officer, he was the vice president of 2FSB. He was very nice to me. Okay. As soon as I went in, he was very jovial and very positive. He was laughing most of the time, and he was making me feel very comfortable. Okay. At that point, what happens is, you don't have a control over what you're speaking. You कुछ भी बके जा रहे हो तुम, ठीक है. You should know what to speak and what not to speak. Okay, so you need to be yourself. That's true, but there are some aspects in your life which matter about how you speak about them. Okay, see, अगर तू मेरा दोस्त है, maybe if you're being very open with me, I'll start telling everything to you. That is not something which is required for the armed forces. Okay, so you need to know where to stop yourself, have a limit on yourself. That's the main problem I feel when coming to people who are very open. Okay, and this I mentioned in my negative also. When the interviewing officer asked me in my second attempt, what's a negative, I told him that if people get comfortable with me, I'm working on that, and I told all that. Okay, so that's what happened in my first attempt. He was very nice to me, and मैं सब कुछ उगल दिया, ठीक है. So later I came back, अरे यार ये सब बोल दिया मैंने. You won't realize at that point of time. Okay, that point of time, he's being nice to you, you're being nice to him, you just continue with the conversation. Okay, but with officers who grill you right from the beginning, this doesn't happen. They see, for example, there was one more guy who went. He was wearing specs. Okay, as soon as he entered, the interviewing officer is like, "Don't you know how to wear your specs and your mask?" That was the first question he asked him. It is very rare that some interviewing officer will start off the interview like this. Okay, so because he was wearing specs and mask was there, and his specs was fogging because of the mask. Okay, so he started. That was the first thing he started off with, and after that also it was more like, why this, why not that, and very jab wo baat kar raha hai, then he's doing this and time check kar raha hai bar bar and all that. Okay, but he's listening to you. Always remember that he's listening to you no matter what. So in these kind of assessors where they start grilling, you already have a control over what you're speaking. Okay, this might not be applicable to a few people, but you have a control. You need to, what you're talking. You're conscious about what you're talking. See, there's a difference between stopping yourself and having consciousness about what you're talking. So you don't have to stop yourself. You need to be conscious about what you're talking. So when somebody is grilling you and things like that, you're conscious ki aisa hona hai, aisa hona. That's why I believe it's a golden opportunity if you get a person who's grilling you. There one golden rule: no matter what happens, how much he grills you, stay positive, smile, have a smile on.
But even telling everyone this one rule, they are not able to do it यार. कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं, वो टूट ही जाते हैं.
See, expect it and go from before. Okay, have a mindset that even if he's like that, I'm still going to stick to my
you are absolutely right to stick to it. But तूने ऑब्जर्व किया, मतलब आपने ऑब्जर्व किया होगा कि कहीं ना कहीं अपनी लाइफ में आप ऐसे हो कि भैया बहुत प्रेशर आ रहा है ना, तो अपने को हम खुद रियलाइज करते हैं भाई ये प्रेशर आ रहा है, अब अपने को शांत रहना है, इसको ऑप्टिमाइज करो. Did you notice this thing?
Exactly, man. So see, even if maybe if I had got this interviewing officer whom I was talking about my first attempt, I would have done very bad for sure. Okay, because I see there's a point, up to a certain point you can still maintain your smile and all that. After that, even you won't know that you're not maintaining it anymore. You will just start thinking about various things, and you need to bring yourself back. That is one thing you need to focus on a lot. You need to have the ability to, if you're diverting and if you're getting under pressure, it's okay. It's just an interview. Even if he's grilling me, it's fine. I don't know if you think, it's still fine. Okay, whatever I know, I'm going to tell him. Okay,
that's awesome. Achha, ek baat batao, you have seen my interview. You have seen me throughout the smiling. I'm sure you have remembered those feeling of that time of seeing. क्या चल रहा था दिमाग में?
Yeah, it's just about, see, the main reason what I believe is they try to put pressure to you, seeing if you're able to handle that and still be yourself. Okay, see, for example, he gave you some situation where your friend or something working in a company, and why not this, why that, see, if those are things you've actually done in your life. Okay, so you can recall that and you can actually tell him. So if you're told that just to impress him and things like that, you may not, you may run out of ideas. You can bluff only up to a certain point of time. So be confident about what you've done in your life. Okay, so if he asked me about something about my football captaincy, if there's a problem there and how would you handle it, own up to what you've done. You say something which you've done right and own up to it. Okay, and even if he asks you why this, why not that, okay, why did you do this and things like that, state a logical reason. Okay, you just need to see, it's not about whether you know stuff or you don't know stuff. See, for example, I'll give you an example. Okay, so imagine he asks you something about smoking. Okay, he's like, do you smoke? You might say yes, you might say no. It doesn't matter. If it's not like if you say yes it's wrong and if you say no it's correct. That's not what they're looking for. If you say yes, then they'll obviously ask you why do you smoke. So you need to have a practical answer to that. Okay, so if you just say time pass karne ke liye, and most of the people say that. If you say no, they'll ask you why don't you smoke? Do you think others who smoke they are wrong? Okay, so you need to have a practical answer to that. It matters more. See, again, your views matter. Okay, they don't care much about what you say, rather what you think they matter. They assess that more. Okay, so forget about agar ye bol dunga to ye galat hoga, ye bol dunga to ye sahi hoga. Same thing applies even with girlfriend. Okay, if you have a girlfriend, and why do you have a girlfriend? Don't you think it's a distraction? So you need to
now let's come to this situation. Okay, now you have a girlfriend question was there. So how this came up, and let's begin with that part. Ki, interviewing officer फंस गया था इसमें, ये मेरे को जानना है इसके बारे में. So please.
So he started off with they were talking something about my sports. Then he's like, Rohan, you seem to be a very active person, and you're involved in a lot of things. How do you handle all the female attention you get? So I was like, sir, I'm fortunate that I have had a girlfriend and we've been together from quite some time now. So that's how I handle it. So the next question was, okay, that's good, you have a girlfriend, and don't you think that hampers your concentration? And because a lot of people tell, no, sir, I don't have a girlfriend because I want to focus on my career and things like that. What are your views on that? Like, sir, it doesn't mean that if you have a girlfriend, you can't focus on your career. if somebody is saying that, it means that every person who has a girlfriend, they are not focusing on their career and they're very distracted. Which is not the case. You can still have a girlfriend, you can still have a lot of friends, you can still focus on your career. You need to know how to manage your time, and you need to know what priorities to give when. Okay, you need to give equal priority. If you're having her as your girlfriend, it's important to give time to her and things like that. At the same time, you need to own up to what you are doing, your career. So if you have a proper balance in that, that's what matters the most. So that's what I told when he asked me about this.
नॉर्मली लोग गर्लफ्रेंड के केस में डर जाते हैं, यार मैं बोल दूंगा तो बहुत कुछ आएगा. आई एम श्योर यू हैव हर्ड दो सिचुएशन.
Sure, man. See, like I told, some people they say no, no, sir, I want to focus on my career. See, I don't think utna bhi, if you know how to manage your time, it won't take much of your effort in your career, whatever you're doing. You need to still, because at some point of time you're still going to get married, man. Are you going to say the same reason even then? If you have a wife, are you still going to be like, no, sir, I'll focus on my job? And you need to know how to prioritize your timing and how to manage it efficiently. Okay, so people yeah, see, if you have it, good, talk about it. If you don't have it, it's fine. Actually, what the reason why you don't have it, maybe you're, even if you say things like, I'm focused on my career and all that, obviously he's going to ask you, so do you think other people who have girlfriends, they don't focus on their career? So what are your views on that? State it openly. So
that's awesome, brother. That's awesome. अच्छा एक बात बताओ, last thing, that people have a dilemma. I'm sure you too have a dilemma. यार कोचिंग जानी चाहिए कि नहीं जानी चाहिए? So what's your call on that? So moment SSB game, SSB के बिना, मतलब कोचिंग के बिना SSB निकल सकती है या खुद निकलने, मतलब क्या है? What do you like to say on these things?
See, one thing, golden thing which I believe about coaching institutes, they tell you how to put yourself across. Okay, so you need to know how to project yourself in a complete manner. So like I told, there's no magic wand which is there in the SSB that you just go there and they'll come to know what's inside you. First thing, you need to have it in you. Second thing, you need to know how to put it across yourself. The first thing, coaching institutes can't do anything. You should do that on yourself. Second thing, they might help. So if you feel that you're not able to put yourself across the table in a proper manner, then go ahead, go take coaching. But for me, the reason I did not take coaching was, see, coaching is not just going to a particular institute and learning from that. I read books about SSB. Commander Natarajan sir ka book padha main. So see, this is also some form of coaching, because they're telling me how to approach situations. Okay, so I did not go to any institute, but this is also some form of coaching. So as far as you understand how to be, how to put yourself across, maybe you might not require coaching. But if you're not able to grasp it from maybe videos or books or whatever, if you feel the need to, if you see, first thing, as I told, you need to have it in you, okay, or you need to develop it in you. After you do this, if you're still feeling that, okay, maybe I am not knowing how to put myself across, then go ahead, go take coaching. There's nothing wrong with that.
So do you know that the ball dance museum of Air Force Academy?
Sure, man. I know.
Okay, but INA has. So any kind of disappointment you have in your head?
It's fine, yeah. Again, I will get opportunities in the future.
I think you are looking for the romance with the cockpit of the Masagor, right?
That's true, man. That's very true. So again, there's no disappointment as such. If it was there, it would be good. But चलो यार ठीक है, अगर उधर बॉल डांस नहीं तो कभी और ज्वाइन करने के बाद कोई तो पार्टीज होगा, कोई तो इवेंट्स होगा, तब कर लेंगे.
That's great, man. That's great. अच्छा एक बात और बताओ. When you know about the aircraft, how well you should know. But once you said, I like to fly Sequoia, the officer said, why not Rafale? Everyone like to fly the Rafale right now. So what's your call on that? How good knowledge you should have?
So my GTO sir asked me about this.
Okay.
So as soon as I went in, he's like, hello Rohan, and basically, where are you from? Then I see you opted for flying branch. So which aircraft do you want to fly? So I'm like, sir, Su-30. So it's like, why not Rafale now? Everyone wants to fly Rafale. So I'm like, so the main reason why I got interested in Air Force is because of the Aero India show. And I've been seeing that since I was a kid. And Rafale I only started seeing recently. Sukhoi to pehle se hi tha. So what grasped my attention was Sukhoi. Okay, Rafale was a new thing. It's still nice, okay. It's still amazing and all that. But Sukhoi I've been seeing since I was a kid, okay. And I'll show you, I have a mask here, okay. So if you can see on this mask, there's a Su-30 on this, okay. So even I have a jacket about, it has a Su-30 symbol on it and things like that. So I told him, sir, Sukhoi is my first love. Okay, so when I hear the roar of a Sukhoi engine, I get goosebumps. Okay, so that feeling cannot be matched with anything in this world. So
That's true. But एक सवाल रह गया यार. How much knowledge you must have if you're going for Air Force SSB about aircrafts? You know, there
bro,
are, I don't know whether you heard or not, but in the SSB board when the person interview is going on, there are, you know, the pictures of aircrafts are there. Sometimes
that's true.
IO asks कि ये बताओ ये बताओ ये बताओ. So what
That's
kind
true,
of
man.
knowledge you must have?
See, from my perspective, you need to have at least a basic knowledge. Okay. For me, I have been doing this from my second year of engineering. I've been seeing videos. I follow a lot of these aviation photographers on my Instagram. Okay. So I know how to identify aircrafts, and within a second, I'm able to. But it's fine. At least the major ones. You need to find the differences, what they are: single engine, double engine, and where the air intake is placed, and things like this. You need to have a basic idea. Okay. So if you want to tell them that you want to fly, and they have some maybe calendar in front of them, and they show you a picture as to identify this. And if you are not able to identify something as simple as Sukhoi or Mirage, okay, that just shows you're not interested in it, man. If you're see, for me, I am very interested in aircraft. Okay, so I do my research, and this was something even Sanjeev sir told, that see, it shows that you're interested and you have done these things from your past. Okay, it may not be necessary that you have seen these YouTube videos, but it just shows your level of interest. Okay, so if you're interested in something, are you doing something about it? It's not कि Air Force जाऊंगा और उसके बाद देख लेंगे and things like that. If you're passionate about something, you can also do certain things about that. Read about them, what they are, and it also depends on your branches. Okay, if you've opted for technical, okay, and you're from electronics background, you should know at least how a radar works, and what is the difference between something called AESA and PESA, basic things like that. Okay, and if you're from aerodynamics or something like that, aeronautical engineering, you need to know what a delta wing is, what canards do, and basic things like that. Okay, because that is something you've studied. Forget about YouTube videos and things like that. You should at least be confident about what you've studied and see how they are implemented in the Air Force. If you're from mechanical, study about the engines and things like that. So be confident about what you've studied. Try to relate it to the Air Force.
That's great. That's great. So let's come to the point where your conference has came up of the second attempt. So up to here, what are you feeling? Is there any analysis in your head that I'm going to get recommended? Because you said, because I was stop analyzing everything. So right now you analyzing or not? Because सब कुछ तो खत्म हो चुका है.
See, I was just confident. Okay, I was not analyzing. I did not want to get into the depths of it. I did not want to go into psych में क्या हुआ, GTO में क्या हुआ, interview में क्या हुआ. I was just confident about myself. Okay, I was like, okay, I had the belief that I had given my best. Okay, maybe if I had not got recommended, then I would start thinking about उसमें क्या हुआ, इसमें क्या हुआ. That's secondary. While I'm there, I was just happy and positive that okay, I've given my best. Okay, जो भी हो, हाँ, there were obviously things where I feel now when I look back at it कि उसमें कर सकता था, इसमें कर सकता, no point now. But at that point of time, I was just confident as to I've given my best. Okay, so the waiting time before the conference, that was around 10 minutes for me. Okay, so even there, when people say that if you're still on the borderline, inside they'll start asking you questions and maybe give you situations and all that. Just approach it with one intent. Okay, whatever you talk in the next 5 to 10 minutes, that is going to decide your future. So instead of getting into pressure and अरे यार उधर अंदर 15 लोग होंगे and if they ask questions to me, what will I answer and all that, just know that you're still under consideration. That is for sure. They won't ask questions anyway. Okay, so just know that if they're asking you questions, you still have a chance to still make it. So make use of that opportunity to the best.
That's great, man. That's great words you have told. But finally बता दो जब नाम आने वाला था उससे पहले क्या चल रहा था?
So my chess number was 23, and there was from my group 2 people got recommended. Okay, me and another guy called Rahul. His chess number 19. Okay, so uska naam pehle aaya. First of all, I was happy for him. Okay, because we had become close during the thing. I was happy for him. Okay. Second, he told 23. Okay, उस एक सेकंड में ना ढग कर गया मेरा दिल. So it was out of the world, man. The feeling was out of the world.
That's awesome. Then I wish you for the future endeavor. मजा आ जाएगा आपको that pilot uniform में देखकर. I wish कि सुखोई जल्दी उड़ाने को मिले. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your lovely time.
Thank you so much, Shubham. It was a great time.
Great.
मैं उनको रोज सोचता हूँ, मैं उनको रोज सोचता हूँ, वो है